Let's get straight to that. I'm joined by SABC News Political Reporter, Natasha Phiri. Finally, we got you in studio.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll get you here at long last. Talk to me about Floyd Shivamu. There was a big story politically last week, and it's certainly spilling over into the next week, isn't it?
Definitely. So we saw his redeployment to Parliament. Of course, the party's leadership in the form of Natin Klego and Makasela Mzobe had actually briefed the members of the media on Monday, saying that instead of being the Secretary General, the engine of the organization, he'll now be redeployed to Parliament. And you all know it was because of that controversial visit to fugitive Shepherd Bushiri's church, of which Shivamu says he's not apologetic for. He won't apologize for that visit. But it didn't come as a surprise to some, Tulas. Remember, in speaking to insiders, in the party, some have criticized his leadership. So, yes, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what actually happens, in Parliament. Will he actually beef up the MK's parliamentary team? Remember, as the MK, they've also come under fire to say that they haven't been performing well as the official, opposition. But on Tuesday, I then attended the EFF's visit to Presley Cheniachaya's home. I asked the president of the EFF about his redeployment. He says, listen, it's immaterial. If anything, Floyd Shivamu will be matched with those who have better minds in Parliament, those like Sinawo Tambo and Sihle Lonzi.
And it's interesting how the MK party basically made the announcement and said, we're not taking interviews on this. This issue is closed. It's a done deal. He's going to Parliament. No further explanations that are going to happen.
Definitely. But I think it'd be interesting to actually see what comes up in the near future, especially regarding MK party. Remember, some insiders have said that Floyd Shivamu has got strained relations with the very MK members in Parliament, the likes of the party's deputy president, Dr. John Hlophe, how will he relate to Duduzile Zuma Sambula, and other MK party members like Mzwanele Manyi as well.
So I suppose we then watch which committees, if any, is it deployed to, or does it just become yet another backbencher?
Yeah.
Tell me about the presidency and Nobuhle Nkabane, the Minister of Higher Education. She has to explain herself to her boss.
Yes.
Yeah.
President Cyril Ramaphosa.
Address me on this matter.
She has to explain her conduct, definitely, to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Remember, she did appear before the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training, and she had to then justify her seated chairperson appointments, of which she subsequently reversed right now. And, the issue of her chewing in Parliament. But of course, I remember last week I saw a Facebook post where she actually explains that Tebogo Letsie had actually given her permission to actually chew in Parliament. But she's also come, under heavy criticism for her conduct. Some have labeled her conduct as rude. She released a statement apologizing. That also has come under fire, saying that, but she, in essence, did not apologize. She just said that, she could have handled the situation quite differently. So it'd be interesting to see when that report will be then given to the president in Parliament. And
it was the overall demeanor, right? It's not just about the chewing, because as you rightly say, Natasha, that was explained to say there was an allowance to say, let's make it a working lunch so you can grab something and eat. It was just the overall demeanor. I remember at some point the MPs concerned about one of the officials, I think Chief Director of Legal Services or something like that in the department, who had a comment that they made that just didn't sit comfortably with MPs. But speaking of MPs, we focused a lot on the budget because it had to be delivered 3 times this year.
Yes.
But now that it has been delivered, tabled by the Minister of Finance as a speech, the actual bills and various pieces of law that make up the budget are now coming before Parliament.
Yes, so this is Budget 3.0. Members of Parliament are expected to vote on it this coming week. And I remember I asked the Deputy President about this issue last week. He had said that he's very confident that GNU partners this time around would actually vote in favor of the budget. And testament to that, we saw what happened this past Wednesday, where the fiscal framework was actually voted. The DA, the ANC, which had ruffled feathers about this issue, on this issue, had actually voted in favor of it. The MK party and the EFF had voted against it. So the sentiment that we're getting from GNU partners is that it's all systems go, everything will go ahead as planned coming this week.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Let's turn to this now. Joburg has a bomb squad. Sounds very serious.
Yes.
And it's headed up by the man who was my boss at some point, the veteran, Snooki Zikalala.
Yes.
Tell me about what the mandate is and what the reception has been.
So this is very interesting, like you said, the concept of a bomb squad, you know, and the Johannesburg mayor last week, Dada Morero, had actually unveiled this plan. Remember, Johannesburg and the city of Tshwane will be both co-hosting the G20. So Snooki Zikalala, an ANC veteran, will be at the helm of this bomb squad, which he will then address and tackle the city's service delivery challenges all ahead of the G20. But this has come under fire. The DA has once again said that this is a form of cadre deployment yet again. So this week we will be, as a politics desk of the SABC, will be speaking to Dada Morero and hopefully Snooki Zikalala, interrogate this bomb squad. Is it only just for the G20, or will it actually be sustainable and actually last afterwards? Because, you know, the state of Johannesburg now,
No, I did. It's an absolute mess.
Yes.
All
so
right.
Those are the stories on our radar this week.
Let's see what will happen with the bomb squad. I guess they're playing on that guerrilla background, you know, commander. The commander is going to come through and lead the bomb squad. Natasha Phiri, thank you for that. That's Natasha from our politics desk.